My brother would do anything on a dare. Don't even suggest a possible dare because he considers it pure cowardice to not accept your dare. In fact, if you dared him to let an ant sting his arm, he'd let two of them sting him just so you wouldn't say he was cheating. Not only sting him, but smile grimly the entire time with that glare in his blue eyes. One weekend, my mom loaded all of us up, and we headed down to visit my granny who lived in Caddo, Oklahoma. Grandma's house was always overflowing with aunts, uncles, and cousins, and my cousins Wayne and Danny lorded it over the rest of us, being the oldest. It was their idea to taunt my brother JJ with a dare to eat some chicken poop out of Grandma's chicken pen. Grandma kept some Old English game roosters, and they were almost as mean as she was. JJ yelled back at his older cousin and said that he wasn't afraid of eating the poop if Wayne thought he was big enough to get in the pen and scoop some up. Wayne's ears turned bright red as all of the 9 younger cousins hanging around turned their eyes toward him expectantly, watching for what he'd do next. Nobody ever taunted Cousin Wayne, and like any bully, he wasn't about to show a sliver of weakness. He marched over to the pen's gate, unlatched it, and stepped inside. The roosters were on the far side with the hens, but their heads popped up curiously. Like any trained creatures, they knew there was only one reason why a human stepped inside the pen, and that was food. Therefore, it must be feeding time. Cousin Wayne abruptly found himself the center of attention of 32 assorted hens and roosters, all doing chicken waddles at 10 miles per hour. Each one was determined to be first in line for the chicken feed they assumed would soon be scattered all around them, a bounty to partake of. Except that Cousin Wayne was unaware of the plan. When he found himself surrounded by a flock of beaks and chicken feet, he took off, running around the pen trying to find a way to escape. He had the presence of mind to understand that he must somehow scoop some poop before he exited, or else risk making a second foray into this madhouse. With chickens in hot pursuit of the human that was playing this unusual feeding game with them and trying to ignore the cheering and hollering of all of us outside the pen, Wayne paused for 1 second, stuck his hand in a pile of chicken feathers and poop, and threw it over the fence. He then made a straight beeline for the gate and slammed it shut. He spent the next 5 minutes wiping his bare feet on the grass and trying to clean out detritus from between his toes. In the meantime, JJ had sneaked off to Granny's kitchen and stolen a handful of white sugar from the canister. Fortunately, Grandma and the other adults were all gathered around the dining room table drinking coffee and smoking, and generally being too loud to hear sounds from a sneaky grandkid pilfering in the pantry. JJ was small enough to sidle into the pile of cousins as if he'd never left, and when Wayne found a stick to pick up the bit of poop to take it over to him, JJ calmly doused the pile in sugar and took a great big lick. Leaving it in his mouth, he opened up wide so we could all see the poop in there, as corroborating evidence that he'd kept up his end of the dare. He swished it around for about 5 seconds. I gagged just a bit at that, and so did Ruthie and Connie, Aunt Margaret's 7-year-old twins. JJ then spit out the mix of sugar and poop, causing Wayne to howl. "No fair! You never said I had to swallow." JJ laughed at him, hands on his scrawny hips.